The Panasonic Lumix S5 II X gives you the ability to record a ton of different video codecs, including some that are going to require using an SSD. So in this video, I'm going to show you my favorite three methods for recording to an SSD when you're using the S5 II X. Now, all of these are going to require a little bit of extra hardware, so be sure to check the links in the description below so you can buy my favorite hardware for attaching an SSD to your camera. So before we go through all this trouble of setting this up, why would you want to use an SSD to record instead of just using the built-in SD card slots? The first big reason is because it's going to unlock more of the different codecs on the S5 II X, like you can record in ProRes using this camera. And that's also going to require a lot more storage space and capacity. You can get these 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte drives by Samsung and SanDisk and Crucial. These are going to be great options to record a ton of files, and they're going to be able to do it at a really fast bit rate, so that you can record all the information you need from the camera. And then when you go to offload it to your computer later, you're going to get really fast transfer speeds whenever you use an SSD. And it's honestly going to blow your mind when you're transferring hours of footage from your camera to your computer, and that you're not having to wait as long as you have to when you're using a V90 card. The next thing you do need to pay attention to, though, is your SSD needs to be a 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte drive. It's not going to work if you try to use a 4 terabyte drive with the S5 II X, so don't do that. So with all that, let's get into how to attach the drive to your camera. Right now we've got the Neewer half cage attached to my S5 II X, and I really love using the Condor Blue Pro Blade top handle. This is my favorite way to record to an SSD because the handle is able to be attached that easily. You just slide it onto the NATO rail, and then your SSD is one of these SanDisk Professional Pro Blades. It goes straight into the handle, and then there's a USB jack on the front of it, and you get a cord as well, and you just have to open up the flap on the side of the camera, plug it in through the USB-C, and now you have this really sleek and minimal recording rig where you have a top handle, which comes in handy as well, and it's just so compact. I really love recording on this, and this is what I record 99% of the time with. Once you're done filming, you can actually get the footage off in several ways with this. You can actually remove the Pro Blades, and then SanDisk also has these transports that you can use to attach it directly to your computer. You could also plug the top handle straight into your computer as well. This acts as a reader. Or they also have the Thunderbolt Pro Blade Station, where you can use up to 4 of these at once, and it offloads them at super fast Thunderbolt 3 speeds. That's my favorite way to do it, especially if I'm using a multicam setup, because I'm able to quickly import all my footage from my cameras. Overall, this is definitely my favorite method for recording to SSDs because it is so sleek, so compact. Now for method 2, you don't even need a cage. All you need is a power bank holder or one of the small rig SSD clamps. Make sure that you have a cold shoe adapter on the bottom of it. Then you can put it directly on the camera on its cold shoe, attach it, and then now you're ready to just attach your SSD directly to your camera. Do a little bit of cable management to make sure that the cord's not in your way while you're filming. All you got to do is plug it in like that. This rig is so sleek and minimal, and you're able to record those really high quality files. But the biggest con with this method is you're going to lose your spot to keep your microphone on your cold shoe. So this is going to be better suited if you're just getting a bunch of B-roll shots and you want to have that compact run and gun camera rig. You can also use these power bank or SSD clamps with a cage, which is really nice because then you're going to have more space to put a microphone on top of your camera, and it's going to be a little bit more out of the way. This is going to take up a little bit more weight and require more hardware though. Also allow you to buy a cage that has a USB clamp, that way you don't have to worry about the cable coming loose and messing with your recording. But if you want the most simple run and gun rig, this is going to be incredible because it is so small. Also, this would be a great rig to use with the Crucial X9 Pro because this drive is so lightweight, so compact. It won't fit in this power bank holder, but it does fit in the small rig SSD holder. And that's going to give you a super compact rig. The last method I use is I take my universal power bank holder and I thread it on to a crab clamp arm. And then I just attach this magic arm straight onto my tripod. And then you can put your SSD on the clamp and have it out of the way of your camera rig entirely. The only con of this is you have to make sure you can get it close enough to your camera that the cable's able to reach it. But if your cable doesn't reach, you can always get a longer USB 3.2 cable that will be able to reach this holder. Now, once you get the SSD rigged up with your camera, you will actually have to change a couple settings on the camera to make sure that you're recording to this. So go to the menu on the camera, go down to card file, and then go over to the USB SSD setting, and you'll want to enable that. You'll have to give the camera just a second to recognize it, and then in the bottom it should say SSD. If your SSD was formatted on a computer, then it will pop up an error and tell you that it needs to be formatted. Make sure you have all your files removed from it that you need, and then you will want to format it. I also recommend from time to time, go back into that menu and go to USB SSD format, and say yes. Give it a second and it'll format your SSD so it's ready for maximum recording time. Once you change these settings, go back into the menu and then go down to image format, and you can change your recording file format. You can use Apple ProRes, MOV, MP4. All three of these settings will work with the SSD. I tend to use MOV and to use the OpenGate 6K recording. That's going to get you a ton of time for recording. Right now it says after formatting this 1 terabyte, I have 10 hours and 50 minutes of 6K OpenGate recording, so I'm going to be able to record for a really long time with this. So those are my 3 favorite methods for recording to SSDs using the Lumix S5 II X. Use the Condor Blue Pro Blade handle attached to a cage. Use a power bank or SSD clamp like this, mount it directly to the camera or mount it to a cage. Or use a crab clamp with a magic arm and attach it to the side of your tripod. That way it's completely out of the way of your rig. If you have any questions about recording with an SSD, leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Like this video, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. If you want to buy any of the parts in this video, I have links for all of them in the description below.